Over here, question.
I think part of the reason that stories like the Elseworlds are so popular and people seem to like them is because the barrier of entry is so low to get into them. If I was starting out, I could pick up Gotham by Gaslight or Red Sun, read it, enjoy it for what it is, but if I wanted to say go read X-Men, I'm going to feel lost unless I go back through and dig through the 500 issues.
But you know what our problem becomes? We're in the periodical business. So that Elseworld is over. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what do you read? If nothing else attracts you, then I've lost you. So that becomes our problem. So that's one of the things that we're always trying to figure out. How, we want to have our cake and eat it too. We want you to have everything you ever wanted and buy it all, and it all makes sense. Very difficult to do. I completely forgot you created Elseworlds. You started Elseworlds.
I started
Yes.
Elseworlds. I mean,
Yeah.
More Weisinger created Elseworlds, but we picked up the ball.
But the concept and all that, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Does that argument still hold up? Because on the message boards, there's always when someone says, "Oh, how will you ever get new readers involved in this? How will you ever get someone new to pick up something?" I bet. Well, First Comics here. I mean, what I said with the Many Deaths of Terry Tremaine, it wasn't Batman 1. I was able to figure out what was going on. Did anybody say, I'm not going to get into comics until I see a brand new #1 issue of the brand new character that I will be able to get in on? Or that's part of the fun. I mean, that's why, that's soap operas. Otherwise, soap operas are in decline, which is a different thing. But people start watching soap operas. Soap operas to me are impenetrable.
yeah.
James Bond movies to a lesser extent. They have a, well,
Jeff Johns said it best to me when I first started at DC. Jeff did it the best. He goes, everyone in this room has continuity. Every single one of you have continuity. But that doesn't mean I can't meet you for the first time. That doesn't. But seriously, it means that I can't meet you for the first time. Your introduction and how you meet him is the first time you do, and then your story, your history, unfolds as we get to know each other more. And that's one of the things that Jeff tries to bring to his writing, which I think he does very well at. In the sense that as he's writing, he brings you in as you're meeting the person for the first time. You know that they have a whole life behind them, and how you unfold the life really becomes more subject matter for story later on. Yes, sir.
To that point, I was a big Marvel guy for a long time. I didn't get a DC because I didn't know anybody. But as I started reading the stories, I read stuff like Long Halloween, different stuff like that, that introduced me to characters via Batman or something like that. I got more into it. So now I'm more into DC because I don't know a lot of the people that's going on. So every time I see somebody new in JSA, Justice League, it makes it more interesting, start building a big universe.
Yeah, I mean, if you really are into the story and wherever you jump in, sometimes it is daunting. I loved X-Men when I was younger. I was buying it when it was Dark Phoenix Saga, the whole thing. I don't buy it now. It's too much. It's too much to mess with. But if you want to find out that history, you'll go back and find out. Two of the books that I still have from when I was a kid were the hardback Batman and Superman through the decades.
The 70s,
yeah, exactly. I've got both of those still, and I sought that out. I sought out All in Color for a Dime. I sought out all this stuff to find out these histories of what I was reading right then that was new, so I could find out what had happened before.
Right. I mean, for me, I always joke, and I'll get to you in a second, what I always joke with is that for the two first comics I bought when I was really starting to buy was Avengers 100
Right.
and Hulk 152.
Right.
And the reason why I bought the two of them, they had the most characters on the covers. Most characters, so I thought I got the best.
Bang for your buck.
Exactly, bang for my buck. I open up, Avengers 100 is part 3 of a storyline that features every single one of the Avengers that don't get mentioned by name. And I didn't have a clue what was going on. They were in Asgard. I didn't even know what Asgard was at the time. And I just found it really interesting, and it forced me to go backwards to find out what was going on. Same thing with the Hulk. Hulk's being put on trial.
Yeah. I don't know who these guys are exactly. Yeah, but
Why is the blind guy,
Yeah.
being a lawyer, And then a superhero, no less. So it's kind of interesting to see how that all unfolds. Right there.
About the continuity, being able to break in and everything, you want feedback. I'm giving you some feedback.
That's why we're here.
It's a lot easier for me to pick up issue 32 of Countdown or 52 and backtrack those issues than it is for me to recap the last 70 issues of Civil War. This is the problem with Marvel over DC, is because Marvel, when they do a tie-in, that's fine if you're talking about the Extinction Agenda, where it's just going to seep into 3 or 4 more other books. If you're talking about the entire Marvel universe, that's cash I don't even think Stan Lee has to spend. But with DC, they're basically saying we're going to have this thing happen, but it's all going to happen in this one title. It's going to seep in, and the ripple effect is going to go through the universe. But if you want to know what happened, pick it up right here in this slot. Everywhere.
Well, I mean, the goal for us right now, and that's one of the things, just getting off track, one of the things that we have the goal for ourselves is make sure we do put the books out every week. That's something that, it's one thing to say we want to do periodical continued storytelling, it's another thing to make sure the books are there. Because, again, I remember we were talking about this in the panel on Friday. I remember coming out, and every week, first week of the month was Hulk, the second week of the month was Captain America, third week of the month was Spider-Man, Avengers. Everything came out a particular week, and I knew, even if I didn't see it on one candy stand store, I'd go to another store because I knew it's supposed to be out, and I'll find it.
I remember those days when comics came out on a regular basis. I don't want to break the edge of the room. I've got a signing I've got to get to.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you so much.
Witness to you, will you promise to love Tomahawk for the rest of your life?
Excellent. Yes.